After the Second World War, United States managed to gain upper hand to become most influential nation in the world, with its powerful economy and army. With all of its flaws, nobody is perfect, still United States was and still is a flagship of democratic values, scientific and economic progress. To stay relative and still be as important player on the world arena, you must have strong military. So how do you enforce your rules on others? With power, of course, as Brits did during their rule as British Empire. And what did Brits use to enforce their rule? Navy. But this power must be smart. You have to consider current time's overall progress. You cannot enforce same rules as Brits did back in the day. So, United States has the strongest army and navy in the history of human civilization, and with such force comes responsibility. Without this force and responsibility you create hegemony, your own rule. You choose the music and everybody else dances by it. With exceptions, but they are nothing but exceptions. And one of these tunes from your greatest hits is enforcement of international maritime rules by United States Navy, strongest fleet in the world. All the progress we see today is achieved thanks to maritime transport, because 90% of world goods travel by sea, be it your computer, phone, tablet or some other device you're watching this video with. I'm sure some parts or even entire device of yours was transported by sea. Maybe even your sofa or chair you're sitting on came by sea. Shipping is the lifeblood of the global economy. Without marine shipping, intercontinental trade, the bulk transport of raw materials and import-export of affordable food and manufactured goods would simply not be possible. In this geopolitical framework, it is clear that the economic prosperity and security of many countries are inextricably linked to the sea, to the freedom of navigation, and to the safeguarding of the sea lines of communication. So in order to make transportation for the goods as safe as possible, you have to patrol the seas. So if something happens, entire carrier strike group is in 7 days where it needs to be. So in order to be a top player, you have to invest, and it is costly, additionally bringing you a lot of haters, but also admirers. In result, we have peace and prosperity in Western economy, Western Hemisphere, with free markets and economic freedom. World benefited from it for almost 80 years, especially Europe, and now we have a critical standoff. On the world arena appear wannabe major players who want to exert their geopolitical dominance, and one of them is using aggressive methods of politics. War. No need to walk around, it is obvious I am hinting to Russian invasion in Ukraine. Major war on European continent. We have come to a period in modern history where some nations are testing waters in order to snap a big player at the weak point and start pulling. Actually, it doesn't matter. Influential nations have done this through times. It's just we are witnessing it in our lifetime, in relatively most peaceful period in history. The jackals were waiting for opportunity to notice some eminent weakness before making a move. It seems that time has come. Big Brother is having his own internal troubles, which makes these jackals to follow their patiently brewed intrusive thoughts, make a move and try to change long-established world order to see what happens. Some of these jackals are willing enough to start most devastating war of this century. Some will watch and encourage, waiting for perfect moment to take it all. China's shadow is over both North Korea and Iran. And the war in Ukraine shows that their talk of peace is not sincere. Their interests are the continuation of the war, which would exhaust both Russia and the West. If United States' attention to geopolitical direction won't be re-established as soon as possible, during these harsh times, some will snatch a big piece. Furthermore, tilting founded hegemony and no UN international law and sanctions will stop them. Beginning of 2022 showed us a little glimpse of that. In the background of all of these agendas that Ukraine war has nothing to do with US politics and America has its own problems to deal with, following the slogan of America First to concentrate on internal problems. Of course, there is no reason to argue homeland problems are essential, but as world-leading country, there is certain obligations which United States took on themselves voluntarily. So as soon as you start backing off, someone will take your place. Besides, agenda that Ukraine already lost, and it should start negotiations pushes United States foreign policy to a level of whatever happens, not our concern. Yet, this does not fit into policy United States followed past decades of establishing world peace and democratic values, human rights, etc., relatively peaceful dominance. If America is willing to leave its dominant position in the world, some other country will take the torch, and sure it won't be a bear, rather a dragon. Jackals will sniff lion's weakness and try to take a bite, one or more, until lion wakes up and remembers who he is. Only question will be how much of upper hand was given away or lost. Only re-establishing positions might cost lives.